Nintendo Switch 2 is absolutely amazing. Not only we get absolutely amazing build quality, the performance is absolutely insane on this bad boy. We essentially get almost PS4 performance on this thing. Also, display is extremely nice, so it's around 60% larger than on the past. Viewing angles are really decent. Brightness is very good, and again, overall the display is absolute joy to use. Also, controllers really good, and probably best of all, yeah, it actually has a bunch of really cool features as well. First, when it comes to the controllers on the Switch 2, they actually have been massively upgraded over the past Switch 1 essentially. First, when it comes to the build quality, they are probably one of the most like premium controllers on the market essentially. Also, as you see, they are also more larger, more chunkier, and generally they're absolutely joy to use. And not only that, we also get very cool feature, and that is actually a mouse mode. So yep, you can essentially use this controller as a mouse as well and control basically, maybe you like to play some shooter games, so obviously that would be very helpful. Inside the box you'll essentially get these adapters over here, so one for each. So let's take this out and we can simply connect to the controller. So start with the bottom edge over here, insert it like this and simply snap it together, and then check it out. Basically, if I position it like this and start to use it, as you see, mouse mode gets activated and I can easily drag it around and use it as almost like a computer with a dedicated mouse. How cool is that? Also, inside the box we get another very cool adapter for the controllers. So check this. So I can easily connect it one over here and one over here, and essentially I can actually maybe connect it to a large screen and use this as a dedicated like proper controller over here. So how cool is that? And again, this also is included in the box. Also, if you want to pair another controller, maybe the new Pro controller on the Switch 2, we can simply go in the settings over here, and in the settings you actually have to go over here in the controllers and accessories, and to pair them, this is the option that we need to select, so the first one. So I think they should actually change the name, as actually it's quite hard to find this area where we actually need to go to pair it. So on your controller you would simply press the pairing button to pair them over here, but again you have to simply go in this menu. Also on these controllers over here I have the pairing button here as well, so if your controller is maybe not working, we can simply like press and hold this for a couple seconds and see it starts to blink like this, and it even gets paired over here. So if you're wondering if we can actually expand the storage on the Switch 2, then yep, we can actually do that. Internally we get already 256GB of storage, but also you see you also have this micro SD memory card slot. But there is one frustrating thing with the Switch 2. Actually we need special micro SD memory cards for the Switch basically version. So as you see, basically you actually need to look for this sign on your memory card, so this micro SD Express or X, so EX essentially. And there are only a couple of manufacturers at the moment that even produce these cards. So again, if you actually will try to use any like micro SD memory card in your Switch, it will only throw up errors. So again, you really probably need to know this so before you actually purchase your memory card, because if you insert even like a very fast memory card in this Switch, see, it will simply throw up errors. So again, if you need one of these special cards that actually work with the Switch, I'll also link in the description basically the cheapest place on Amazon where you can get them. Also, a lot of people ask me to show them where you can actually download free games on the Switch 2. So when you actually purchase your Switch, it actually won't come with any game unless you purchase maybe one of the bundles, but again they're much more expensive than just the bare unit. So then, and the way we actually get free games is we simply have to go in the Nintendo eShop over here, and you'll obviously need to make account for it. So when you actually first open this eShop, my internet is kind of slow, as you see, basically when you actually click on any of these games, it will ask for crazy money. So literally like $80 for a game, that's absolutely ridiculous. So maybe like 70 for this one. So yep, absolutely crazy. And if you maybe like simply browse this shop essentially, then all of these games essentially are basically like paid ones essentially. And the trick to find free ones is simply go on the search over here and then scroll all the way down, click view all software, okay, and sort by over here, price, load, high essentially, and then it will pull up basically the most popular games that are also free. So we see what we can get here. So I have installed already quite a lot of them, and there are like tons of different games that you can get for free. So again, if you are wondering if you should purchase one of the Switch versions, which already comes with some games, so you already kind of can get obviously some free games here as well. Also, this Nintendo Switch online service also is actually pretty decent. So you see, you have like 7-day free trial essentially, and basically in this membership, essentially you can also get access to like some of the retro games. So essentially maybe you can sign up for a service and over here, okay, Nintendo Classics, as you see, you can choose from different consoles over here. So really just choose whatever you want, for example, and then we'll okay, probably went in a different place. I'm not too familiar with this. Okay, yep, definitely in the wrong place. But yeah, you see, basically you have a bunch of retro games that you can download from over here. And again, you get a week of free trial. So simply in that week, simply download all the games you want to play. And then you will, yeah, basically have a bunch of games already on the console. And these are some games already have installed over here. Yeah, pretty cool. Then also what's absolutely ridiculous is Switch 2 actually still doesn't have internet browser, which again is completely ridiculous. But there's actually a workaround, we can still get access to Google maybe. So if you go in the settings over here, we are going to go to the internet settings, click your internet settings, okay, let it load. And simply click on your Wi-Fi network that currently you are using one. Okay, click change settings. And over here, scroll till you see your DNS settings. Click over here and set this as manual. Okay, and then in the primary DNS, we are actually going to enter this address. So by default, it's like all zero. So we're simply going to delete and enter this. So you can pause the video. So this address, the IP, we simply need to enter here. So then click OK and click Save. And we're going to click on our network again to connect to it again. Okay, let's click it, connect to this network and let it fail essentially. So you see it requires user registration. So let's click OK and check this. So we don't actually have like internet browser, no. So for example, we have direct links over here. So for example, we can go to the Google or enter our website here as well. So you see, you literally have Google. So we can maybe search for something. So you see, it actually works like decently. So why still Nintendo hasn't actually developed like decent browser is really beyond me. So I think it's really missing feature. But again, this is how you can bypass and still actually get access to internet and watch some videos or stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool. By the way, of course, you will also need to go back in your settings the next time you actually want to get access to normal internet and change this back DNS setting to automatic. So otherwise your internet obviously won't work. So again, it's completely ridiculous. We still do not have browser on the Switch 2. Also, if you are wondering how is the battery life on this bad boy, so Nintendo actually claims you can get up to 6 hours of battery life on this console, but in my experience I have actually never achieved that. In like normal usage, when you simply play some games, I think you can get maybe up to 3 hours. So in some case, if you also like increase your brightness and play some higher demanding games, this console even lasts only for like 2 hours. So again, very far away from 6 hours. And probably if you are on the go, then I highly suggest you actually invest in one of these beefier power banks over here. So for example, this is what I use. So one from Charge, so 24,000 milliamp hours. And again, if you actually want to play this for a long time, I highly suggest to simply get like that, like decent power bank for it, as you probably will need it. By the way, when it comes to charging, charging situation is kind of cool this year. As you see, you have like this Type-C input on the top over here, and also one on the bottom. So you can kind of charge from any of these ports. So it doesn't really matter from which you charge. And also let me show you one more thing. So let's check out, for example, the charging speed. As you see, when I plug it in directly, it draws around maybe like 17 to 18 watts. So definitely like decent charging speed. However, this console also comes with this dock. And let me show you basically one thing. So if I actually plug in my charger in the dock, then you'll see just how insanely slow the console actually charges while we actually use it in the dock. So if you want to insert it in the dock, maybe you want to use it with a TV or big screen, so you can obviously do that. Okay, so let me insert it. Okay, and let's check out the charging speed now. As you see, only literally around 7 to 8 watts. So again, if you actually need to charge up your console the fastest way, then do not charge it from the dock, essentially, as it takes like insanely long to charge it from the dock. So literally, if you plug it in directly in the console, it's like a bit more than 2 times faster. So if you charge directly, so again, we can simply insert it either here or here, so it doesn't really matter where we insert. But again, as you see, the charging speed literally is over 2 times faster this way. Also, let's quickly go in our system settings, and I'll show you some things you probably want to enable. So first, in the controllers and accessories over here, as you see, if I swipe all the way down, I can swap my A and B basically inputs essentially. So as you see, basically, so if some game basically would benefit from swapping over those controls, you can enable it over here. So again, absolutely cool feature. Then if I go in the display settings, if you want to output basically the picture to a TV or monitor, and if your TV doesn't automatically put the highest resolution, you can go over here and change just to whatever you really need. Also, as you see, we can also enable 120 Hz output here as well, so probably you also want that. Also HDR output as well. And lastly, also if I go in the system settings and scroll all the way down, as you see, I can also enable here the battery level percentage. So by default, it only shows a bar, and it's not very easy to understand your battery level if you do not enable this. So again, I think this should be enabled by default. And then also, you see, you also have another cool feature, which essentially can prolong your battery lifespan. So again, really the most damage to your battery health release happens basically in those last percentage, basically when you charge it. So again, if you want the most longevity out of your battery, I highly suggest to enable this function over here. Also, if you suffer from very slow download speeds for large games, I highly suggest you to use it in a dock as well and simply connect using the Ethernet cable, as I find that Wi-Fi actually isn't that good on the Switch for some reason, at least on my unit. First, when it comes to download speeds, you can check basically my download speeds that I'm actually getting, so over 500 megabits per second down. But if I actually go in the settings over here, click Internet, test my connection, you can essentially see I'm only getting around 40 megabits per second, and I'm simply feeding hotspot from this unit to this one. Also, I have tried with multiple basically devices, my other phone, and also like home internet. Again, the internet speed for some reason is actually very slow, at least on my unit. So what we can do also, we can basically go over here and check if it's actually running in 5 GHz frequency band. For example, I actually can't really get this Switch 2 to actually connect to any 5 GHz network. So again, I literally have tried with 3 devices, so 3 network devices. Again, this Switch 2 for some reason for me simply doesn't connect to 5 GHz network. So maybe you can also try on yours if yours connects. So again, if your Switch obviously has very slow download speeds, then yeah, there is something off with basically Wi-Fi, and simply use the docking station using the wired solution. By the way, also during gameplay, if you maybe want to take a screenshot at any time, we can also do it using this special button over here. So you see, if I press it, you see screenshot actually of the game or wherever else you are gets taken. Also, there is actually one more cool feature. We can also do a screen recording, and essentially if you press and hold this for maybe 3 seconds, so simply hold it, you see it actually created a video of the past 30 seconds that we actually basically played our game. So again, this switch actually saves the last 30-second playback in the memory and can take a video. So again, if you maybe want to share with someone how basically you were playing the game, we can actually do it. So after you are done, basically we can go in the home, then go on the album over here. As you see, you have all the screenshot over here, and for example, if I go over here, you see I literally have this video taken as well. So how cool is that? And overall, is the Switch 2 actually worth it, and should you maybe get one? Well, yep, I can highly suggest Again, the power is absolutely insane on this thing. It really chews through any game. Build quality is really top notch and highly improved. Also the Joy-Cons are really absolutely top class on this console, so they feel mega premium, great performance, and again absolutely great build quality, and it's actually very well thought out. Also like really decent speakers, decent microphones. So yeah, basically I think Nintendo has completely overdone basically and completely over delivered basically with this console. It's that nice. Anyway, good luck.